Okay, so now the really esoteric stuff starts happening at the end of episode 3 of the first season. That's when the other world of the Red Room is revealed to Dale Cooper in a dream, or at least we think it's a dream. In the hero's journey story archetype, things really get going once the protagonist is transported from the normal world into the other world. And this is what we're seeing here. It is during this dream that we first witness Agent Cooper stepping into this bewildering place for the first time. Unless, of course, you consider the entirety of Twin Peaks to be occurring in a dream, which is an interesting thought, and I definitely could see that, in which case this scene is perhaps revealing another level of this multi-layered dream world in a sort of Zoroastrian-inspired Inception type of way, which is a very interesting way to look at Twin Peaks. It is also a scene which is completely filled, the Red Room, I'm saying, is filled with all sorts of occulted elements. Now, first we are shown an older Agent Cooper by some 25 years. Looking straight ahead like a stone, it seems the passage of time in the waiting room may be irrelevant to the physical world. However, the aging of Agent Cooper is perhaps a clue that Laura Palmer's murder will never be solved. A sort of deadly premonition, if you will. Cooper is wearing an assortment of pins and a necktie resembling a sash like an old war veteran or something. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. We must remember that if he is indeed dreaming about entering the waiting room, Dale hasn't formally entered into this place through the sycamores yet, which means he is being initiated at the second level of consciousness or in the dream state. Taking the Jungian approach here, perhaps this means that everything in the dream sequence and the entirety of Twin Peaks relates to Dale Cooper's psyche in some way. That's very possible. The Atman Brahman, or individual soul, as the world soul, or the unified field of which the audience is being an integral part of this dream. It's no wonder why this show is surrounded by seemingly endless theories, because the possibilities which emanate from the unified field of consciousness are infinite. Now, on first glance, it seems we are witnessing some sort of lucid, dreamlike state which is mutually shared by several different entities. How is this possible that Mike and Bob are communicating in Dale's dream? Remember that dreams are ruled by the unconscious or underworld, which means Dale is being communicated directly to by Mike, which of course infers the collective unconscious or the unified field of consciousness, which is the source of all being or the mental nature of existence, if not, which is a notion that can be found through many of the world's ancient wisdom traditions. Now, combined with the fact that Bob seems to be hearing Mike's voice coming through to him as well, means that we aren't dealing with just a normal dream. In keeping with this basic structure, the world of the physical and metaphysical are merely different aspects of the same unified field when we take the metaphysics of both Jung and David Lynch into account. And don't forget that Lynch's metaphysics are derived from his teacher, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, a disciple of Swami Brahmananda Saraswati. And of course, in that tradition, the nature of all existence is pure conscious awareness. Now, for the uninitiated, this may sound completely nonsensical. However, the idea of our reality existing as a field of pure conscious awareness is nothing new at all. It's an ancient understanding which has steadily gained more followers in the West, and especially in scientific circles for well over 100 years now. Unlike many other spiritual traditions, however, which seem to overlook or de-emphasize the fundamental nature or structure of reality itself, this seems equally the most intuitive and logical path to pursue for those seeking a model for their own metaphysics and spirituality that seems to make the most sense on many levels. Now, in this book, The Kybalion, for example, a book published in 1908, which was part of the New Thought movement, which was a spiritually inspired movement, really coming from India in the East, this book contains the 7 Hermetic principles, which are the foundations for the structure of reality. And the first and primary of these 7 principles is the principle of mentalism, which states that the all, referring to the totality of existence, is first and foremost mental or of pure conscious awareness at its most foundational element. This is not a religion. This is just metaphysics. This notion of the metaphysical and pure conscious origins of the universe we inhabit is a view which contradicts the mainstream view in the West that the physical world somehow gives rise to the mental processes or metaphysical world we experience. In this Western scientific view, mental activity only exists as some sort of unexplained or yet to be explained phenomena of the physical, biochemical processes of the body. Abandoning this presumption makes understanding Twin Peaks much less a chore for the mind, allowing us entry into some new and compelling possibilities when we're talking about how to understand Twin Peaks. It's because the transcendent nature of Twin Peaks, similar to the reality we inhabit, cannot be reduced to a collection of objectively definable parts like some sort of dead machinery. Instead, it exists without any clearly defined genesis nor any definite end. Science has only recently come to terms with the idea that, for example, the Big Bang Theory is actually incorrect. So, Twin Peaks points us to the eternal and transcendent nature of reality time and time again, which is consistent with the metaphysics of David Lynch and, well, many others. At least for me, I can say that watching Twin Peaks from this perspective has made it much more coherent and enjoyable. If this sounds like a little too woo-woo for you, well, the fact is that reality at the quantum level does indeed behave in a way which points science toward a unified field of pure consciousness as the basis for all existence, which upon initial inspection can only be described as something mystical and contradictory to human logic when compared with the current reductionist 18th century view that seems so popular today. The hard physical scientists seem to really hate this idea or explain it away by saying it only appears to be this way because we don't yet understand what it is that we are observing. And yet, scientific research into quantum physics consistently points us in this direction. And that direction being that the unified field of consciousness, or whatever we wish to call it, is in fact the source of the manifest world around us, lending the sensation or feeling of physicality. But in the objective sense, the physical is not the prima materia of existence after all. Or at least that's how it seems up to this point.